Ask the Expert, brought to you by Auger Hollingsworth.
It is time to Ask the Expert on Your Morning Ottawa. Today, we are talking about safety, stairs, and your responsibility as a homeowner. And it's so great. If you have any questions for us, send them our way, 613-789-6559 and extension 2803, Your Morning Ottawa at ctv.ca as well. We have Calla Rose. She's here from Auger Hollingsworth to take your questions this morning. Calla, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for coming in here.
Thank you for having me.
You know, our viewers will watch and they'll go, okay, what do I need to know here? Some might be homeowners. Some may have actually experienced an injury on stairs and, you know, they weren't the homeowner. They were on somebody else's property. So we're here to find out what are your rights and what are your responsibilities. Okay, so first off, how common are these kind of slips and falls and injuries on stairs?
So they're actually very common, and they can be common all year round. It's interior and exterior stairs. Although obviously with exterior stairs in the winter in Ottawa, you've got more considerations to think about. So in our practice, we see a lot of injuries, unfortunately, from stairs, and because of the momentum when you're falling.
Oh, it's terrible.
Stairs, when you fall down the stairs, you can see some really serious injuries. We also see people fall upstairs as well.
Oh, yeah.
So that can happen in homes, restaurants, businesses, commercial spaces, things like that.
Okay, so in terms of indoor staircases, what kind of scenarios are we talking about that you can find yourself in?
Where you're injured?
Yes.
Okay, so you can find yourself in situations where you fall upstairs.
That's
so
wild, right? Upstairs, like you just miss a step or something.
You can either miss a step, or I think people, they might have some muscle memory with stairs because there's very strict regulations with the Ontario Building Code about how high stairs need to be. So that's the riser, and how deep they need to be, which is the tread. And so even if things are just a little bit off, you can find yourself tripping. And if you can catch yourself on a railing that's there, it's usually not an issue.
Okay, that's right.
But that's another safety consideration. So if there's a railing that's falling out of a wall, or it's just not there, or it's not continuous, or it's not compliant, it's not something that you can grab onto, then you can injure yourself.
Okay, but Calla, how do you know? You're the owner of the property. You've got the stairs, you've got the railing. How do you know if it's safe?
So I think there's different considerations if you're a homeowner, and then also if it's a residential home versus a commercial space. So commercial spaces, decisions by judges, courts, generally they want you to have inspections, maintenance, routine, things like that. If there's any damages to the stairs, then they want you to be attending to that very quickly. So they're going to be looking at things like, in a home or a commercial space, lighting. How about carpeting? So there's no torn carpeting or things coming up. The treads and risers are a uniform size according to the building code, things like that. And even like the nosing of a stair is important. Like if it's sharp, you could cut yourself falling upwards.
Ooh, that's true. Okay, so you talked about commercial property. What about residential properties, and what do homeowners need to be aware of so that their property, their stairway is safe?
Well, there would be some considerations for indoor versus outdoor. So outdoor, just like anyone, you want to make sure that your stairs are cleared of snow, of ice, that you're applying salt, that you have a handrail that someone can grasp onto. So you don't want open stairs, but fencing is not enough. You have to have a handrail. So I've seen some people's houses with picket fences or things like that along stairs, but you do need a handrail so as someone does trip or slip, they have something to grab onto.
So if somebody trips or slips on your property as a homeowner, are you held responsible necessarily?
Not necessarily, but you definitely can be. There has to be a connection between someone's fall and their injury and the condition of your stairs. And so if it's not compliant with the Ontario Building Code, that's an issue. If there's other things like lighting or deterioration of stairs, like you can see outside, especially with winter, crumbling concrete or decking porches and things like that, if there's no traction, if they're rotten stairs, things like that. So you have to be careful with that.
Ask the Expert, brought to you by Auger Hollingsworth.
We are continuing our conversation with Calla Rose with Auger Hollingsworth. We're talking about stairs and safety. And Calla, you can give us an example. Of course, you've had clients who have experienced a fall or an accident on stairs. Can you tell us what were some of the issues at stake there?
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, I have a lot of cases like this, and so I can pull from a lot of examples. One of the most severe cases that I'm thinking about was an outdoor fall. It was at a commercial space here in Ottawa, and my client fell from the top of these stone, like concrete stairs, and it wasn't properly maintained in the winter. So he fell from the top and he lost consciousness. He fell all the way down to the bottom. He was found by people walking by and taken to the hospital. He suffered some fractures, but really it was the brain injury that was the lasting injury that he dealt with. And he was in his late 40s and he never worked again. So it can be very, very dangerous.
Very devastating. Are there different considerations for outdoor stairs as opposed to indoor stairs in order for the stairs to be considered safe, secure?
So a lot of the Ontario Building Code has descriptions for how stairs should be in terms of risers, treads, like depth, height, handrails, things like that, that are very similar outdoor and indoor. It's just with the outdoor you have more considerations because of the weather. So you have materials that deteriorate. So you have like wooden stairs that may rot or they don't have traction when it's wet. You would also have snow, salt, things that break away at your stairs, so like concrete stairs that are falling apart, or you'll see in places that have big pavers or stones, and they start to like shift or pull away, big cracks, people can be walking up them and then the stones come out,
yes, right.
Things like that. So you want to be extra mindful of exterior stairs because the condition of exterior stairs changes so much because of the weather.
I'm just wondering, you mentioned building code. What role does a building code play with your stairs in particular here? Do you have to get it inspected every X amount of years? You know, in restaurants, you have like, you get the A rating, right? Because somebody came through and said, yep, okay, the kitchen's good, you're good. When you have a business, for example, and you've got a building code, does it have to go under review every so often?
So there's not generally people that come out from the city to check. A lot of these things are retrospective, unfortunately. Like we did have a case where it was a fall in a grocery store and the handrail was too thick, and so it wasn't grabbable. So we had a client, she fell down the stairs, she wasn't able to grab onto anything. And I think those buildings were made in the 90s, but they had to be updated. And so it was a chain of grocery stores that all had to be updated after that. And so you will see that. For commercial spaces, there's usually a higher onus on the company because they're inviting people to come onto their space, usually to sell them things or for commercial purposes, that they have to have that maintained and inspected. But that can come up when you're constructing a new building, doing renovations to your home, things like that. So they're all important considerations that I would hope that your contractor would know and that you can check into. You should, as a homeowner though, be checking that the lighting is good, that there's no holes in the carpet or things that are pulling up, and that your handrail is well supported. You can't just put a handrail into drywall, because I've had a case where unfortunately, someone falls and they try to grab onto the handrail and it just comes out of the wall. Right. So handrails are extremely important.
Okay. Calla Rose, thank you so much for stopping by and giving us all that information that we need to know. And if you have any more questions for Calla Rose or Auger Hollingsworth, there's their information on the screen. You can reach out to them, 613-233-4529. And you can see their email information there, info@ahinjurylaw.com.